Part of that just being wild, just the type of people I hung out with, the rodeo people and things like that. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just a wild lifestyle, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild lifestyle. I'm glad you were just in it when it was like a lot of drinking before it became like doing meth before rodeos.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely. And I just want to let you know I'm recording right now, so
Oh,
just
Okay.
no, it's okay. I remember the first couple of times I ran into a cowboy that did drugs. I couldn't believe it. It was like so far from what I understood that we were about, especially meth. I ran into a bull rider and then I ran into a rodeo clown and I heard like, that they did this, methamphetamines and stuff and I was like, that just doesn't sound right. A
yeah.
cowboy and that type of drugs.
Yeah, it's odd that that's like how the tides have shifted, but it's that same shit of like driving all night to get to the next rodeo.
Yeah.
Like, what's the best way to stay wired for 3 days straight so you can get on the back of a bull?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is not an excuse, but
They say that back in the 50s and 60s, those cowboys used to take these little white pills, like called white crosses, that truck drivers used to take. And it was because they were having to drive, like you say, 3 days on the road to get to the next rodeo before it started.
Yeah.
And so there's always been drugs around rodeo, I guess, but it just wasn't something that I really encountered at all. Not even weed. Very rarely did I even see a cowboy that smoked weed back when I was coming up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dang, I would have thought that would have been like a little more prevalent, but I guess not.
But you don't know unless you know.
Yeah.
True. You don't know unless you know.
Nobody's gonna go around handing you a Pyrex. Like nobody's gonna openly tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
True. I love our conversations when it's like just us.
Well, we have a Marie Garza on here.
Welcome.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm running late. I got up late, so.
That's all right.
That happened Saturday morning.
Yes, I had a rough night. I had bunion surgery last week, so I was up to like 2, 3 in the morning, and finally I fell asleep. My sleep pattern has just been off.
Oh no.
Yeah. But hi, y'all.
Hi. I work over there in mental health, and what I see the most with people that are having mental health issues is lack of sleep. Every single person that is getting services from UT Health Science Center, I'm over there Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All of them report lack of sleep.
Wow.
Sleep has to be so important to our overall mental health and mental wellness,
Yep, I can imagine. Because I feel like I wasted almost half of my day, and it's only 10 o'clock, but it just feels like I'm already off my schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know in the past, like when I've had some tough assignments at work and I'm stressing out and I can't sleep, but then I have to be up early the next morning. It's bad. But I'm a coffee drinker, so I guess that's how I deal with it, is I just pump up on caffeine.
Yeah. Maria, have you ever joined us before for Woke House?
No, I have not, but I actually met you. You were a speaker at Celebration Circle.
Oh, okay.
I'm a part of, and so I really loved your testimony and the way you spoke to us, your energy, and I was like, man, I gotta follow this dude. But then I want to say I kind of did. Obviously I didn't, and then COVID hit, and we stopped meeting in person. And then I had asked Miss Zet, I'm not sure you remember Zet, but
Yeah.
I asked her for your name, and she gave it to me, and then I kind of was a little stalker on Facebook, and there you were. So I followed you, and then I saw a post for this meditation. I was like, oh, dang. All right, let me try it out. So here I am.
Awesome. Yeah, so... I'm sorry, Kayla, go ahead.
I said we're so glad to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We got Jorge in the house. What's up, George? What's going on, my man? Did you go slick your hair back or what?
Tied it back. I've grown it out.
I
It's like
see.
shoulder.
You had it a little while, a minute ago. What'd you do? Put it up in a bun, man bun?
That's right, sir.
What are you jealous, Dad?
Otherwise,
yeah.
if I go like this, it's gonna be flying all over the place. It's funny because my sister always wanted curly hair. Apparently, I have that.
Welcome to the king.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I guess we'll get started. So, Maria, what we do is we start with some basic chants. I don't know if any of us on here identify as being Buddhist, but I do have a strong connection to a Tibetan Lama, and I went to India and so forth and so on. And so for me, the teachings of Buddhism are secular, meaning I'm not praying to Buddha or anything like that. I'm just going through some rituals that bring me back to the present moment and help me, get to know myself and calm me down. I talked about mental health earlier. I have, long time diagnosis of anxiety and depression, and of course I'm in recovery from alcoholism and things like that. So Buddhism has been like a saving grace for me, just studying it and going to meditation centers and just kind of trying to follow the teaching, so forth and so on. So we put this group together in the format of Buddhism, and we do a little chanting, and then we basically just talk about whatever. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. That's all it is a loose plan. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's see how it works out. All right. Can y'all see my screen? All right. So if you can put yourself on mute, it's really hard if you're not on mute and all of our voices. It gets kind of echoey. All right. So for you woke house veterans, let's knock this out. Refuge in the three jewels. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the path of light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, I learned to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free from obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha in myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakened nature, realizing the mind of love. Taking refuge in the Dharma in myself, I aspire to help all people fully master the ways of practice and walk together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the Sangha in myself, I aspire to help all people build fourfold communities, to embrace all beings and support their transformation. All right, so we're going to bow to the Sangha, the Buddha, to your higher power 3 times. To Jorge's man bun. And sometimes, we were meeting in person, so we're offering flowers and water and light and incense to the Sangha, to the Buddha, on the shrine. And so we're going to do the offering of flowers. Offering of flowers. This spread of flowers, fresh hued and fragrant, I offer at the sacred lotus feet of the noble sage, with flowers in great variety, the Buddha I adore, and by this merit may I gain release, even as these flowers must fade. My body too will pass away. And I actually do have a candle over here. Offering of light, with lights brightly shining, dispelling the gloom. I honor the fully awakened, that light of the triple world who dispels the gloom of ignorance. Let me see if I can light this thing. Set off the smoke alarm in my apartment. Oh, let me say it again. Offering of incense, perfumed with infinite qualities, the Tathagata, fragrant of face and form, I revere with incense sweet and penetrating. Let me see if I can light this thing up.
Light it, don't hide it.
Don't hide it, divide it.
I hate that I was about to say, don't hide it, light it, and you said it.
All right. Offering of water. We offer water, symbol of purity, to the Buddhas of all times. May this water both wash away the obscurations of ignorance and sate the thirst of craving and aversion. All right, we're going to bow 3 more times. All right. Now, the last chant. Notes on mindful breathing. Anapadisati is mindfulness on respiration. Ana means inhalation. Anapada means exhalation. Concentration on the breathing process leads to one-pointedness of the mind and ultimately to insight, which enables one to attain liberation, freedom, and perfection. The Buddha practiced concentration on respiration before he attained enlightenment, but this beneficial meditation may be practiced by any person, irrespective of religious beliefs. We will inhale through the nostrils normally, without strain, without force. While doing so, the mind may wander, but one should not be discouraged. When wandering thought is detected, label it as thinking and return to the breath. Awesome. Bing, 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 bing. All right, so what we usually do is a little meditation practice. When we're in person, usually we go about 15 minutes. Sometimes online, it's a little bit weird. We're all at our own houses, you know, and it's like, I used to turn off my camera and go fix a cup of coffee and get a little snack and come back when I was meditating at home. So usually we just go about 5 minutes and do our best, Kayla.
I can't stand him.
So what we can try to do, though, what I like doing is just kind of entering into the sacredness of the moment, and then breathing, and then I'm gonna just ask whatever comes to me. Sometimes these guided meditations kind of come to me, and then I just start talking and just do kind of like a visual walkthrough of some stuff that's coming up in my spirit. And so then we do these kind of guided meditations. So we'll see if that happens. But why don't we take about 5 to 8 minutes where we just kind of come down, you know, come to the present moment, fill our lungs with air, breathe. You know, we've been racing through the week. We've been having different struggles during the week, and then we're looking forward to the things we have to get done this weekend. And then it's on to the next week. So maybe just 5 to 8 minutes. Just being in the present moment on this Saturday, being together in the Sangha, enjoying our breath, enjoying this moment, enjoying this Saturday.
I'm going to turn off my camera because I'm going to do a walking meditation.
Okay. I see you got your orange robe on. All right. Well, let's sit back and remember, most of the time in our lives we breathe really shallow. They say that we don't hardly use the bottom half of our lungs. So if you can just practice, if anything else, fill in your entire lungs. There's supposed to be 4 quarters. If you can fill all 4 sections of your lungs with air during this time, that means you're getting a lot of oxygen in your blood, and that will help you wake up. It'll clear your thinking. It'll give you a sense of well-being just to oxygenate your lungs. So let's try that now. Deep breaths through your nose. Fill up your lungs with air. When you breathe out, consciously follow your breath out of your mouth. Expel all of the air that you've breathed in. You may breathe in through your nose as deeply as possible until your lungs won't hold any more air. You might even hold it for a second before you exhale. And then when you exhale, consciously follow your breath out. %90 of the time, our mind is not focused on the present moment. Our minds are always racing. The breath is happening naturally on its own. We're very rarely conscious of the breath. But going back 2,600 years ago, Buddha, his entire meditation was just focusing on the breath. And why? Why did he focus on the breath? Because it's the only thing that's happening right here, right now. You can't focus on your past breaths. You never sit around and think, I remember when I was 13 years old, I used to breathe, man. I remember those breaths. Back when I was 13. I remember when me and my boys used to get together and we used to breathe. Man, that was fun. Or I can't wait till I'm 80 years old and those breaths. Man, I'm looking forward to being in a nursing home with my peeps and we'll be sitting around breathing. No, you're not worried about your future breaths and you're not remembering your past breaths. The only breaths that you can truly be conscious of is the one that's happening right now. And if you can consciously feel the rising of your chest, the expanding of your lungs, the breathing in, the breathing out, then you know you're alive. So many people are dying. All around us, people are dying. So many people around us don't have this present breath. A famous Tibetan master by the name of Thich Nhat Hanh would say, we breathe for those that are having trouble breathing. We can breathe for the people that don't have the ability to breathe as well as we do. We're breathing for the people that can no longer breathe. We're breathing for the whole world. Somehow we're all one. Our breath is everyone else's breath. Our breath is the breath of the whole world, the whole universe. We say that climate change and the destruction of the rainforest and the poisons we're putting in the air, that sometimes we can just get together and the only thing that we can do for the good of this planet and for the good of others is to truly enjoy our own breath. And we can breathe in as deeply as possible, and we can breathe in for the rainforest. And we can visualize that we are that conduit that's breathing in for the whole world, and we're breathing out for the rainforest. We're breathing in for the person in the hospital that's having a hard time breathing. And when we breathe out, we're sending loving kindness and healing and repairing and healing and restoration. And we're breathing as the whole cosmos, the whole universe breathing. Taking in every pain, every suffering, everything that is going wrong in the world, or our concept of things going wrong. And we're breathing it all in and transforming it into healing light and oxygen, and breathing out. And we are the entire cosmos breathing out to that one person in the hospital. And we're breathing out love and light and restoration and healing. And as we do this, their lungs are being repaired, their body's being repaired, the earth is being repaired, the rainforest is being repaired, the entire climate is being repaired. We're breathing in all the toxins in our climate. We're breathing in all the smokestacks and factories and chemical all the power plants, all the smoke, all the smog, all the nasty stuff around the world. We're breathing that in as the universe. And we're whirling it around within ourselves, and we're sending it through all the filters of light and power and goodness. Swirling it around through the filters, creating powerful oxygenated energy of pure light, and then breathing it back out. And now we've sucked all the sickness and all the pain and all the toxins out of the people of Earth and out of the atmosphere of Earth. And we have removed the sickness and the death and the destruction and the smoke and the smog and the pain, and we've sent it through the healing filters of God. And then we've breathed it back out into our climate. And that healing breath of the cosmos has repaired the trees and the grass and the plants and the people and the animals. And the air is pristine, and the rivers are pristine, and the lakes are pristine, and the oceans are pristine, and the people are pristine, and the animals. Every species, every bird, every butterfly, every insect. And the air is returned to blueness. And the ground is returned to greenness. And the world is perfect and abundant and beautiful. Let's take another 5 breaths of taking in the pristine, beautiful climate and breathing out the beautiful, pristine, healing climate, and enjoying the benefits of living on a clean earth, in a healthy body, in a healthy life, right now in this moment, on this Saturday, as the cosmos itself. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out.
there was like 3 times that I wasn't thinking at all. But then it would be like, oh wow, you're not thinking. But still, progress.
So maybe let's talk about that. What are some of the things that you made a connection with, or some of the feelings that you had during that meditation? Thank you for that, Charlie.
I personally love what you guide us through. I know that, like, I appreciate the quiet times in meditation, of course, because, like, it really helps me, like, focus on quieting my own thoughts to nothing. But I love when you guide us through because it gives me, like, visuals that I can picture in my mind instead of thoughts. And that helps me, like, focus purely on my breathing and being present. So I love that.
Thank you,
Yeah, I
Kayla.
have to agree with you on that. So once you started speaking of the blue sky, the green grass, and I was picturing myself in a forest, just breathing in all that air and exhaling peace. So it was very calming. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Maria.
It literally felt like my air was getting colder and cleaner.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie.
So, I'll chime in. Definitely, when I do take a moment to meditate, I realize how much stuff I'm thinking about.
Yes.
Like, definitely, like you were saying for a minute there, I was like, yeah, that does connect for a second. I was like, you said, yeah, I don't think about the breaths I had before or the I'm going to have in the future, or just thinking about the breaths. And so in that minute, I was like, yeah. So I was trying to focus on that for sure. And I just realized how much stuff was going through my head.
Thank you, George.
I was trying to breathe with all 4 parts of my lungs you were talking about.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I couldn't even, like, have my arms closed. So I was, like, walking around like Superman in a cape, like, trying to open my lungs up. And I was, like, running into the walls because I was doing a walking meditation with my arms, but it was worth it.
That's probably a good meditation in itself, just throwing a blanket around you and walking around like Superman.
For real.
That
I was
li-
like, I am putting this earth.
I am Oxygen Man. So we're moving into our time of discussion, and I'll always kind of bring a theme to discuss. But you know, this Saturday meditation is about you. So definitely, if you're struggling with anything, I can't help it. I turn everything into a support group. I don't care if you made me the pastor of a church, I would make the sermon about a support group. If I was doing tours of the Alamo downtown San Antonio, I would turn that into a support group. I don't know. I mean, that's just my nature.
So who here has forgotten the Alamo?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a stressor warning, so people did die here. If that's going to hurt you, I'm here to talk. If at any time during this tour you're feeling triggered and stressed, let's take a minute to breathe and talk about it.
We're going to walk to the fudge shop section of the gift shop and just let you walk at the chocolate and just take soothing breaths.
If you struggle with, your addiction to chocolate, I'm here for you. I'll talk you through it. We have a chocoholic meeting at noon.
Alcoholics Anonymous.
You mean right in the section where Travis wrote the letter begging for help from Sam Houston.
Right.
Here in this corner.
Okay, nerd.
This ain't school, Kayla.
I know.
That's the Alamo with me.
So one of the things.
Motivators.
What's that?
I said I let my haters be my motivators.
All right. I see
I
you.
never forgot the Alamo.
I never forget the Alamo.
So one of the things that I found recently is this book. It's called Radical Acceptance, and it's by Tara Brach, PhD. She is a very famous Buddhist, and she's a psychiatrist. But this is her journey with mental health herself, and also with working with people. And this was recommended to me from somebody in a support group that I do on Monday. And the guy that recommended it to me, like, he's struggling with all kinds of different things, and he was saying that reading this book with this Buddhist theme has helped him radically accept himself, but yet still leave room to move up, to be okay right now, but also to hold out hope that recovery and wellness and every reaching his goals and everything else in his life is still possible. And so one of the things that during the meditation that came up for me was I just turned 50 years old, and I look back at my life and think, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but like how few times I've been okay, like just being okay. I mean, literally, I've been chasing okay my whole life. And, it's really sad when you think about it. It's just like, and I'm not even sure if I can convey this in words where, it's just, the Buddha talked about samsara, like we live in samsara, and, samsara is this feeling of it's not quite right. It's just this terrible feeling that chases us all around from birth to the grave, that everything is not okay just right now the way it is. And that's called dukkha. In Buddha, that's called dukkha. Or you could call it duty. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. The stinking thinking in your head, the poo-poo committee in your head is always telling you that whatever it is, it's not quite right, And, it's followed me around for 50 years, I can tell you times that, me and my wife have planned these very awesome trips, and I've gone online and thought I found the perfect Airbnb and all that, and once I got there, the most recent time we went to Corpus just to get out of here, just to get away for a night. And I went online, and everything looked so beautiful. Like, it looked like they were taking pictures from the balcony, and the ocean was there. Well, shit, when we got there, I couldn't even see the ocean from my Airbnb. All I could see was the other apartments, and we were on, like, the 4th floor. You had to take stairs all the way to the 4th floor, and then you look out the window, and you just see the other apartments. And then couldn't even figure out how to get down to the beach from where we were. We had to drive all the way around. So anyway, there was this whole. Now you get into, wow, I got cheated. Like, I need to write a strongly worded email to the person that owns this Airbnb and all that stuff. And so just on and on it goes. It's just, how many times have I just been okay? Like, this is okay. It's okay. Even if I'm not okay right now, it's still okay. Am I making any sense at all? Does anybody make a connection? Can you tell me your own relationship to these thoughts? Please.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel that way all the time. Like, I feel like I always have to be doing something. Like, I have to be cleaning. I have to be, like, exercising. I have to be meal prepping. Like, just stuff that I think is going to better me. But I'm not actually, like, just being in the present moment. Like, it's fine if there's cups on the table. I don't have to immediately clean it up before I can relax. That's something that I struggle with, is I always say, like, I can do this, then I can relax. But I need to cut that out and just be alive. Yeah, just be alive. Just be thankful and grateful and okay in the moment, and not be worrying about so many other things at once.
Thank you, Charlie. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, So I went to Rio de Janeiro ask her with an X, you know. And I also picked an Airbnb that I thought was glorious and beautiful. And when we got there, I mean, like, the furniture was the one they pictured, but it was not in the condition that, was in the images. And it was, right next to the beach. Well, it wasn't next to the beach. I'm just saying that it's really humid, right? So they didn't have the air conditioning on. That same face you just made is the one that she made. And so I just remember for a minute there just being kind of upset about it and thinking, man, like, everything's wrong and everything's not right. And I think that it took me a minute to realize, wait a minute, you're still in a foreign country. Mm-hmm. And you're still near, all the beaches that you wanted to visit. And maybe this is not the way that you viewed things. But this is definitely still something that not everyone gets to do. And you need to take a minute and breathe in the humidity, and whatever else, like, try to be great. And so I remember having that discussion with my ex, who was much more difficult to persuade about that. Mm-hmm. I also had to accept that. I mean, like, not everyone can see that or feel that. And so just try to make her feel as comfortable as you could. But I mean, like, I think that it's hard. It's hard to be able to do that when you have things that remind you. I will say that. Like, that things are not what you would like them to be. Mm-hmm. And so, I think at some point we did enjoy our stay, and even now I still talk to her, and we talk about having gone there and realizing, like, I asked, like, would you have changed anything? And she said, well, no. I mean, like, ultimately, like, the reason that we had the experience that we had is because we stayed there, I think the only thing that she did say that she would have changed is we arrived on New Year's, and I told her, hey, like, stores are gonna close early. We should probably go buy something. Probably nothing is gonna be open. And she said, nah, I need to, like, look through the place and try to, like, organize for myself. And I waited for her to do that, and by the time that she had that sorted, things were closed.
Oh no.
Yeah. And so couldn't get anyone to deliver. Couldn't get, like, I don't think we could find a convenience store that was open. Like, that wasn't a lot of fun. But otherwise, yeah.
Wow.
I make 100% connection to that, George.
Yep. Yeah, I think like, radical acceptance is something I'm trying really hard to practice right now. I have a lot of things going on in my life. Like, I'm going out of the country in a few weeks, and at the same time there's things going on with my job and everything else. And so I've been stressing a lot, overthinking a lot, and I just try to, like, stop myself and sit there for a moment and be like, okay, is there something you can change, like, right this second? Is there something you can change right now to make it better? No? Okay, then just, like, accept this and understand that things happen and that you can't fix or solve or control everything, and then let it go and just move forward. So.
How's that working for you?
It's going-ish.
That's something you really have to engrave.
What?
Like, that's something you really have to engrave. Like, you have to practice that, like, 10 times a day, and then you might do that in, like, 10 years and be good at it.
I'm trying really hard.
Yeah.
I resonate with that too, Kayla. I feel like I'm always like, once I do this, then I'll be happy. Mm. And so I always have to tell myself, like, you don't have to change anything for you to be happy. You can be happy right now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Just allowing myself to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
God, you know how. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how many minutes are in 50 years, but I wonder how many minutes I felt okay. Probably not that many. It sucks to think about that, right?
Mhm.
And then, like what George was saying, like whenever I went to that Airbnb, that my chain of thoughts got so it went down so fast. Like as soon as I saw that Airbnb and it wasn't what I thought, it was like, number one, I'm not going to impress my wife because I'm the one that did this. I set this up. Now she's going to think that I'm an idiot. She's not going to have a good time. Now I've disappointed somebody. Now I've pulled somebody else into this deal. And then now I'm pissed. And, I got this because it was cheap. Because I was raised poor. Because my dad was an alcoholic. Because we're a bunch of pieces of crap. I come from a long line of crap. You know what I mean? It's just like so dark, so fast, It's like, it all goes back to, the dawn of time and how my my whole DNA has been crap since the beginning of time, um, you know, and that's why I'm stuck in this Airbnb where we can't see the ocean.
Oh my god.
And then the whole time I'm telling my wife, I'm sorry that it looked better. And she was like, okay, I get it. Like, who cares? We're not in Floresville anymore. We're not in Floresville. Like, we can go eat some seafood. We can, drive around, find the beach and all that stuff, and she was just happy getting out of town. But it was all in between these 2 years, there is a whole lot going on.
And it's interesting that you say that because I think sometimes when we're in situations and we see it as the worst that it can be, it's not what we expected, right? And we kind of, like real quick, like you said, it gets real dark. But then I think it's who you're with, and not necessarily in a relationship, but who is around you and how they react to it. And they can either add to that darkness, negativity, or they can just completely like turn it around and you're like, oh yeah, like what your wife said, who cares? We're not in Floresville anymore. She took that moment that you were just really stressing about and just kind of, for her, that wasn't the issue. I guess, she wanted to be with you somewhere else. And I think that who we are also has a big part to do with our worries. Yeah.
Definitely. That's why you don't want to be around those kind of friends or have those kind of people in your life that won't lift you up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Kayla and then Charlie?
Oh, I was just agreeing. Sorry.
Agreeing.
I was thinking of,
Go ahead, Charlie. Sorry.
I was thinking about that earlier when you were talking about how, like, you were in that crowd, your friends were crazy, and you guys drank every single day, and were always doing crazy redneck shit. And now you surround yourself with a different kind of people, like people that are just in support groups and work in mental health. So that's a good impact on you. So I was thinking, like, my old friend group used to just be crazy and toxic and didn't really trust them. And then now I only keep people close to me if I 100% trust them and love them. And I feel that they reciprocate that energy. So I do think that it really does affect you every single day in your moods. If you have people that complain 100% of the time, they're going to bring you down with them. And I feel like this is something that I didn't understand as like a teenager. It's like, oh, I'm not like my friends. Like, I make my own choices. But in reality, they do impact you and your choices.
Absolutely. Yeah, Maria, thank you for that. Having somebody in your life that can be your cheerleader and lift you up is super important. Somebody that you can depend on. Thank you, Charlie. And do all of us have that? Do all of us have at least somebody we can reach out to as a supporter?
Kayla?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that as we were talking about friend groups. Like, I remember like, Charlie and I are cousins, if you guys don't know this, but
what?
I moved in with them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I moved in with them after I got divorced, and I remember they were, like, hanging out with this group of people that I was like, dude, the vibes are off. Like, these are not great people. Like, as your older cousin who, like, can see this, these are the people you're hanging out with, and you should, like, get a better group around you, basically. And I've watched, like, over time how, like, their friend groups have evolved into, like, who they trust the most and who they can keep around them. And I, like, model that in my own friend group of, like, who's around me, who uplifts me, who understands if I'm having a day where I'm depressed, who understands if I'm saying I'm really anxious, I need someone to be there for me or whatever. And I think that Charlie and I now have, like, a group of people that, like, everyone is reliable, that they can be there for you or help you or hold you if you need it. Like, and I don't know, it's really cool to, like, cultivate that kind of friendship with people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
I
Kayla.
think it comes with age. You just get smarter.
Yeah, I did tell you guys, your going out friends when you're 21 will not be your friends when you're 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our circle gets smaller as we get older, because now we realize, you know, from experience and past hurt and pain and issues, like, okay, you kind of know at the beginning if that friendship's going to be something that you want to cultivate, like you said, or something that you feel like you need to release. And thank you for what we've had, but this is it, you know?
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Quality, not quantity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know, my father used to tell me that there's a difference between friends and acquaintances, but we tend to call everybody friend. And I think it's like, we don't use the word acquaintance here in the States. Like, oh, this is my acquaintance. This is my coworker. A lot of us tend to go to that, this is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that it's not an offense to be somebody's acquaintance, but I just don't think that it's used here. Like, I don't know, but I used to say, that there's friends, which are usually a handful of them, you know, that they're going to be there for you, support you, help you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's acquaintances that are still going to maybe help or just bring joy into your life, but they're not necessarily going to be your cheerleaders, but they're there, you know, like there's, I don't know, he tried to explain it to me and I kind of understood it, but it took me a long time to really get it until I was older.
Thank you, Maria. George, how about you? Do you have supporters in your life?
Yeah. I try to have as many as I can, and it just sometimes, you know, I think that sometimes I can relate a lot to that whole in between your ears going to the dark place, and when you do that, and I should speak for myself. Sorry. Whenever I do that, I don't always look for those supporters. And so, you kind of like I let myself dwell in that dark place for a minute, maybe too long, and I don't always reach out to people as quickly as I should. So I definitely think that the people who I've chosen, who I do call a friend, are supporters. But it's something that I also thought about. I think when I was younger, definitely like Facebook was all the rage, and people would be like, "Oh, I have 1,000 friends," and I was like, "Oh my God, 1,000 friends! This person's gotta be amazing," you know. And then you know, and they'd be like, "Well, you know," I'd look at my own friend count and be like, "Oh, they got like 100 people," and I'm like, and nowadays I'm like, well, like now like those are 100 people that I could probably talk to, you know. If I was looking for somebody who's got a million followers, like they're not really people who they can really necessarily count on. I don't know. And so yeah, definitely quality over quantity for me.
You know, it's interesting that you bring up social media, because I definitely think that has changed the way that we label friendships and how friendships. Because you're right, so many things are about like, well, how many friends do you have on Facebook, or how many followers do you have on Instagram or Twitter? But it's like, those are not your friends. Like, they're like, I can't scroll down my follower list and be like, I'm gonna just call this random person and tell them I'm sad about my dad dying 7 years ago. Like, it doesn't, like, I can call Charlie and say, Charlie, I'm sad about my dad dying. And she'll cry with me, or she'll be upset with me, or whatever. and that's how I know she's like my best friend. But like, we have such a skewed view of friendship now because of the way that we connect through the internet.
And I think too, because we have access to so much information in people's lives. Like, we see them going on trips. Some people post videos of them crying and talking about, like, very personal things. Like, these influencers and celebrities will have to make statements onto social media about their own lives. So it's like you feel like you know these people, but in reality, I don't even know their middle name. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I was thinking that George, is it George?
Yeah.
Okay, that you said that you grew up. Did you say it was Facebook or
So
social media?
So, to give away my age, yeah, like around the time that Facebook was all the rage, like, we're like, oh my God,
Wow.
like, I gotta join this thing, and, I had all my friends, and, like, that was right after all the what was the other one?
MySpace.
There you go, thank you. That was...
Coding in MySpace. Like, literally,
Like,
And I think that's so interesting because, so to reveal my age, is I'm going to be 50 soon. And when I was in middle school, high school, college, there was, I think MySpace came around when I was like graduating college, I think, but I wasn't much of a social media person. So for me, I've always really enjoyed meeting people in person, right? When they're not your friends yet, just meeting somebody. And then you kind of build on that relationship. And so when, with all this Facebook and everything, I have this, I'm not too much a fan of it, I guess, because I feel that it's missing that human part, that human connection that I guess you can build it if you really connect with somebody on social media and maybe you end up going out or having private conversations. And yeah, I guess you can, but for me, it's still like a handshake, a hug. Like, that's what I guess is what appeals to me. So it's just very interesting how just our different ages, I think, affects also how we build friendships and how we connect to people. It's just interesting. But yeah, there's still a lot of good things in social media. Don't get me wrong. I connect with a lot of family on it. So yeah, definitely lots of pros and some cons, I guess.
Thank you,
I
Maria.
love that, the human connection. I go to music festivals a lot, and I think that's like the best way to meet people, because you're just like, they're just strangers next to you and they're dancing to the same song and you're into the same artist, and you just like start having fun with the person next to you. So you have like no idea who they are or what background they came from or anything. You're just having a good time. And I think that like that connection has given me like some lasting friendships that like I've had for years and years and years, just because I turned to the person next to me and started talking to them. And like social media, like you can connect, but there's always like that wall. It's like that screen that's between you. So you're like, you never know if you're getting the full story, or like you never know like what's waiting for you on the other side of the screen. That sounds ominous, but no, I don't mean it in that way, but
yeah, I feel like whenever I was single a couple years ago, and like me and my girlfriends were single, it was about like, oh, let's post pretty pictures of us. So I felt like everywhere we went, I was having to do a photo shoot for every single one of my friends. And so that really turned me off of like Instagram, social media. Like, I used to think that I had to post every day or every other day so my followers could keep up with my life, and it was like an obligation to the Instagram law of the universe. And so I ended up telling my friends, I'm not doing this. You can have 5 pictures each, and that's it. At 3 places. That's all I'm taking. And I never had them take pictures of me, very rarely. I still don't feel comfortable with pictures taken of me. I don't like the idea of having to pose and post that your life is so great and amazing and try. I feel like people try so hard to like make it seem like their life is amazing and they're having so much fun. And I just feel like it's giving us like the wrong impression, and it's really putting a huge, it's having a huge impact on the teenagers today and the middle schoolers today, because all they know is filter and Facetune and like a blue people taking amazing pictures. Like you should not be having a whole camera and then sending it to your laptop and editing it and then putting it to your phone and uploading it. Like, I just feel like that's not what it was meant for, and I think that it's just not healthy if you're using it in that way. Like, I feel like people just are trying to make themselves look good the whole time, and I just, it's exhausting.
Yeah, I think that kind of skews reality, right?
Mm-hmm,
and then what people
exactly.
are seeing is they don't see the whole picture. And if there's folks that are, going through some dark times or have a bad patch in their life, and we tend to compare ourselves to others, and then we see everybody else is having a good old time and I'm not. That just adds to our sadness. So yeah, that's tough. But knowing that, I think that's a wonderful thing. Knowing that social media, the good and the bad, I think is important, so that people understand that not everybody's going to post when they're having a bad day. Most of us glorify the good days, but we don't really highlight the bad situations we're on. So yeah, it's like, how do we share that with others, so that, especially you said, like the youth and those that are learning or getting into social media, that like don't take it as it is. There's more to it than what you see.
Yeah, I'm really thankful there's that trend now, and it's a girl, and it's a lot of like influencers, and they're not pencil skinny, size 0, and they will take a picture of them looking beautiful with an edit, and then they'll take a picture without the edit, and then they'll pose really good, they'll look super skinny, and then they'll just take pictures without posing, so they can show the younger generation that it's not what it really looks like.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, part of that taking pictures and trying to get likes is trying to find connection, right? You're still trying to find connection. So if you take a picture of yourself and put it out there, and then you get a bunch of likes, and you keep looking at it and you see that you're getting more and more likes, that's dopamine. That's like getting a hug. That's like getting a high five. You're trying to make connections with other people in community. And, right or wrong, that might be a good thing, might be a bad thing, whatever. And I hear everything that y'all have said about it. Definitely, I was in the same boat. I used to take a lot of selfies, and everywhere I went, took pictures and all that stuff. But, once again, when you look back at it, you're trying to find connection. Like, you want some people to like your picture, because that means that you are, that you're likable. People like you. It's like getting a high five, and so you're looking for that community, that connection, right? So, and if you don't have someone in your life, I always tell people, try to find a group like this one, right? So this is a form of community. This is a form of connection. This is a way of finding supporters in your life. Anything that you can join and be a part of, I think, is beneficial. The worst thing is the people that I meet that are isolated. They have no one, no friend, no supporters, no cheerleaders, and aren't a part of any type of group. They're just out there isolated. And that's like sleep. That's another thing that I hear around mental health. People are not doing well because they're not sleeping well, and they also don't have any supporters in their life, which is like the second thing. They're isolated.
I don't know if y'all remember, and I came out in the news, I want to say a few months ago, a lady that had passed away, I want to say in Italy or Spain. It was a European country, but she had passed away, and she was like in late age, maybe like in the 80s, but apparently she had been dead for 2 years.
Oh my God.
Nobody had known about her, or and the reason they found her is that they were expecting like floods, and the police went to go knock on everyone's door, right, to warn them. And that's how they uncovered her. And then when they asked, well, the neighbors thought that she had maybe gone with her family because of COVID, right? But I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sad that she passed away. She was sitting at her table. Sitting at her table.
Jeez.
But I'm just like, gosh, you know, like for not even one person to reach out, like, hey, I haven't seen my neighbor. Let me go knock on their door. Or my friend, I haven't heard from them. Let me call her. And wow, I was so sad. I was like almost in tears. But I think I thought about it, and it kind of sat with me for a while, just thinking about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so sad. I had a 19-year-old. She has autism, and I'm an occupational therapist, so she's my patient. And she came in one day just bawling her eyes out, crying. And she recently moved here a couple months ago, and her parents don't let her have social media, and so she has literally no one to talk to, and she doesn't feel comfortable talking to her parents because they don't understand having a disability. They just don't get it and how lonely she feels. And I've given her mom a couple resources, a couple groups that she could join. I told her to talk to a counselor, all this stuff, and her mom just does not look anything up, just does not even try. And so she's just alone in this world. And it's just so sad that all these resources are there available for her, for people her age, for people with her disability, and she can't even have access to it.
Wow.
That's horrible. Maybe a pen pal. I used to have pen pals when I was in college, and I found some of the letters, and I don't want to throw them away, but there was a pen pal. I had one in Mexico and one from Japan, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so awesome. Why did I stop?
That is so cool. That's a good idea.
That's so funny when George said Rio de Janeiro. Like, when I was growing up, man, that was like, dude, if you went to Rio de Janeiro, boom, dog, you were a baller. Like, that was the most balling place you could go back in the day. You would have to be rich to go there. Seriously,
No matter what
you would see that in the movies, like people vacation in Rio, right? And it's just like, wow, like nobody I know could ever go there. That's like, you know, so that's cool.
Scarface stuff.
Scarface stuff, right? Well, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and close out with the chanting, and then, like I say, maybe next week we'll jump into radical acceptance.
Who's that by?
Her name is Sarah Brock, PhD. If you want to order the book, you can order it. It's cheap. You can find a used copy.
Yeah, I was already looking for something. I have a new book. So.
Yeah. So we can just read a couple pages and talk about it each week. All right, let me share my screen. All right, so if you'll put yourself on mute, we'll go ahead and do the closing chants. Contemplation of the 10 perfecting qualities. May I be generous and helpful. May I be pure, virtuous, and well-disciplined. May I not be selfish. May I be strenuous, energetic, and persevering. May I be patient. May I be able to bear and forbear the wrongs of others. May I be honest and truthful. May I be firm and resolute. May I be kind, compassionate, and friendly. May I be humble, calm, quiet, unruffled, and serene. Wow, may I be all those things. Discourse on loving kindness. Just as a mother would protect her only child, even at her own life's risk, so let everyone cultivate a boundless heart towards all beings. May our hearts of boundless love pervade the whole world, so that all beings without exception might be happy. I feel like it raises our vibration to chant these things. I feel my vibration rising. Closed in dedication of merit. If I have attained any merit by the result of this practice, may it be accredited to all beings everywhere. May they find the source of suffering and extinguish it. May they find the source of happiness and increase it. May all beings dwell in ultimate unalloyed nibbana. And we're going to bow to our Sangha brothers and sisters. Drive-by bowing. All right, we nailed it. Great group. Now we see Maria's pretty face.